We have with us on the sofa John Lydon, former frontman of the Sex Pistols, known to a generation as Johnny Rotten, a fierce critic of those in British politics and society. He was once called the biggest threat to our youth since Hitler.
Now, though, he's been voted laughing now, though, he's been voted one of the greatest... It was one, wasn't it? It was a politician around the time when they were all scared of what was going on with you.
When they debated me in the Houses of Parliament.
For being anarchic.
Under the Traitors and Treasons Act.
Indeed.
You know, which
that was
hilariously carried the death penalty.
Yes.
That's nice what a pop tune can do, isn't it?
Well, it's extraordinary. John, we were just talking about schools then, and pressures on teachers. Yeah. And I suggested, having read the book and read some of your experiences at school, very mixed bag for you, wasn't it? Because clearly there were problems at school, but then you found individual teachers, in English, for example, and certain subjects that absolutely...
Yeah, thrilled me.
Got you.
And that's what teachers should do. They should inspire. But generally speaking, they're so ill-paid and run down and overworked that inspiration is the very last thing they have left for the kids. But and that's a sadness. It's to me, national health and schools should be two of the most highly paid jobs. These are things we need as a nation. If you don't look after, you're ill and you're uneducated, then you are going to get serious problem in the future.
We hear some of that, some of your childhood and what happened to you in your childhood in your book. But first,
yeah, well, look at the serious problem I turned into through neglect.
Well, I was thinking more of the fact that you were very ill when you were a child. Yeah. You had meningitis, which took you a few steps back initially because you were reading at a very young age. Your mother had taught you to read at a very young age.
I could read and write at 4.
And then that then you had a memory loss after being in a coma.
Nearly 4 years to fully recover who indeed I even was or who my parents were. I'd lost all coordination. I couldn't manipulate my body in any direction and couldn't speak, couldn't communicate. And that was extremely painful because what would be coming out of my mouth would be just babbling gibberish. Not much has changed, apparently.
I've got this. There's some wonderful pictures in this book, and I want to draw attention to this one down the bottom. Can you see this one? Because this is you, John, at the age of what's this? This is you about 4, is it? And then
6 or 7.
And this is a little later on when you had to wear glasses, and that was post meningitis, was it?
That's after, yeah.
Just afterwards, and then we're moving on to what when you're 15.
Oh, that's a cheeky chappy at 15 with hair down to his behind.
Because you had
the one in the middle with the glasses. Yeah. See, this is after meningitis. I had to go back to school at 8, and I didn't even know my own name. So this picture of them, they had to really prod me with canes to get me to smile because that was a difficult thing for me to do.
I noticed in quite a few of the photos in the book that you don't seem comfortable in front of a camera, even when you were having band photos.
Oh, I think I am. Yeah? It's what I'm uncomfortable with is sarcasm. And a lot of journalists will be that way, and they'll put you on edge, and that makes you defensive, and you then automatically become quite bellicose.
There are
not today.
Not today. No need today.
There's some wonderful bits in the book where you talk. Some people think they know the Sex Pistols story, and they think they know your story as well, whatever. And some brilliant insights into your life and your family life. You talk about your mum and dad a lot. And there was one sequence where you first had your hair dyed, and you'd gone green at that point.
Yes, my dad said I looked like a Brussels sprout and kicked me out.
He kicked you out of the house at that point in time?
First time an Irish family has thrown a Brussels sprout out.
But they were hugely supportive.
Well, I had extremely long hair, and I just, because he just kept on at me, and I just went to the opposite extreme. But that would be me. That's how I am.
You had a lot of support.
But that's way ahead of its time when I was doing things like that.
There's also mention of a lot of support from your parents and you showing your mum your world, and she was quite... Although they perhaps didn't understand it completely, you took her to
but they had faith and trust in me. They knew I wouldn't be lying, and there was always that inner dignity from them that I appreciated. A man of extreme tastes. But there's no harm in me.
One of the things that there are bits of the book where you effectively you just say what you think. There are passages where you call it a monologue, don't you?
Yeah.
You talk about things you like, things you don't like.
Yeah.
And it is kind of intriguing. Can I give you a sort of yes, no, like, dislike?
I don't know what you mean.
Well,
by
I was going to
that.
go. So Beatles.
It sounds like you're going to be talking to yourself.
So the Beatles.
The Beatles are a mixed bag to me. My mum and dad loved them, but they played it to death, and so I had a natural rejection to it. I mean, there's some songs like is it not Helter Skelter? There's some tunes in there that I do like.
And how are you with the Queen these days in the royal family?
I have no personal animosity against any one of them as human beings, but as an institution, it's something that I feel I've overspent on.
One person I was very interested in your views on was Vivienne Westwood, because she played quite a part.
Oh, that rancid old bag.
Well, I think your views are perfectly clear.
No, I'm really angry with her at the moment. She's running around claiming she came up with the title Anarchy in the UK. I mean, what a nonsense. You know, go back and sell some frocks at Ascot. No, well, don't be piddling around in my world.
This is quite
I'm John. I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
This is quite a theme in the book.
And that one ain't nothing to do with it.
Because it's an interesting theme in the book, because you also talk about the perceptions that people had of Malcolm McLaren as well. And
well, if he was alive today, he'd be saying much the same as her, you know, the same idiot nonsense. It's terrible to me. I was a young kid, and these adults were claiming to own me. Or that they've invented me, and that I won't ever tolerate. And they're still, to this day, like, inventing an agenda and writing themselves in a bigger part than they fully deserve.
Have you mellowed out, do you think, John?
Oh, not against depression, no.
Still there, is it?
Oh, yeah. I'm only 58 years young. There's another good 50 years left in me, I reckon. A lot of anger brewing.
Very good to see you this morning. Glad the anger's been...
Well, anger's what made me recover. That's what got my memory back. That's why I used it as the title of the book, Anger is an Energy. The hospital advised my parents to keep me angry. That would spur the mind.
I'm afraid our time is up.
And kickstart memories.
John,
our time is up.
Our time is up. I'm so sorry.
John's book.
We'll be back after these important messages.
not on this channel. John's book, Anger is an Energy, My Life Uncensored, is out now. That's it from us this morning.
That was the important message.
That was
the important message.
I'll be back with John tomorrow from 6. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.